I was told this chain held the world together. That without it, everything they loved would simply fall. So I stood, not for a moment or a season. I stood for as long as they needed, through the biting cold, through the screams of the storm, and through the silence no one ever questioned. My skin became the iron, my bones became the stone. I held the weight they called everything, and I never once stopped to ask who was holding me. They lived in the light, only because I agreed to stand in the dark. High above the clouds, where the air was warm, and the nights were filled with a celebration that never ended. They danced, they laughed, they built their world higher and higher into the gold. But with every step they took upward, every new tower they raised, the iron in my hands grew heavier. They looked at the stars, they looked at each other, but they never looked down. Not long enough to see what it was costing to keep them in the sky. The more I carried, the more they demanded. It wasn't with gratitude. It wasn't even with a nod of respect. It was with expectation, as if this weight was always mine to bear, as if I were born for the chain and nothing else. I gave them my strength, and in return, I became smaller in their eyes. Not a protector, not a guardian. To them, I was just something silent, something steady, something that would never let go. And then I looked closer, not at them, not at the gold or the lights above. I looked at my own hands, the marks, the deep strain, the quiet, scarring cost of holding everything together. For the first time in a century, I didn't see my own strength. I saw a choice. And in that moment, the truth became as clear as the ice under my feet. They forgot. They forgot that the only thing keeping them above the world was the very soul they chose to look down on. Some people try to pull you down, forgetting you were the one holding them up. And the hardest part isn't the weight, it's realizing the weight was never shared, that you carried more than your part, for people who stopped noticing a long time ago. And in that moment, everything changed, not around me, but within me. I realized I was never trapped by the weight. I was choosing to carry it, choosing to stay where I was no longer seen, no longer valued, no longer respected. And for the first time, I asked myself, what happens if I don't? So, I made a different choice. It wasn't out of anger. It wasn't out of spite. It was out of truth. I finally let go of what was never mine to carry alone. And as the world above me began its slow, heavy fall, I simply walked forward. Lighter, clearer, finally, free. I didn't let them fall. I simply stopped holding them up.